Welcome to the second part of my 3-part series on link roundups. Now, to do this at scale, and especially if you want to continue doing this, you're gonna need some kind of systemized and organized way of tracking and recording your link building process. Now, I would recommend using something like Google Sheets, just as I would recommend if you are trying to build any kind of link type, and you want to be recording at least the following: the name of the blogger or editor or website owner, the URL of the Roundup post, and the blogger's or website owner's contact info, so an email address preferably. So, there's a few methods you can use to find targets that you want to pitch, but there's a few I'm going to go through. Now, the first one is using advanced search engine operators. Now, this is my favourite one, and while it is very manual and time consuming, if you do this part correctly, it will give you the most accurate and relevant target list. There are loads of different variations you can use, but this will give you an example of some that I personally use. So it'd be a case of having a keyword, something from your industry or sector or niche, and then tagging on extra things onto it, and then you would use these to find the targets that are relevant to your content and your site. Could automate this to some extent with a tool like BuzzStream, but I honestly find those kind of automated tools will put in a bunch of non-relevant posts and you'll have to manually delete those. Then by the time you've done that, it's not really saved you any time. This kind of thing, if you're doing it manually, it's probably best done by some employee or a hired hand who purely concentrates on prospecting. So what you want to do for Roundup posts is filter on Google to get posts from the right time frame and that seem to be regularly posting. So to do this, at the side you have this tools button, then you would filter this for whatever you want to filter for. So I would, for instance, past month, that's usually a good one, and that's will give you somebody that is posting fairly regularly. That's quite a key point actually. You want to make sure they're actively doing Roundup posts. If they haven't done any for a long time, you don't really want to record those. And what you may find is a lot of pages will mention the term Roundup, but they're actually marketers like myself talking about how to do link roundups or how to build links for those for that kind of category of link type. And obviously you don't want to record those because that's an internet marketing thing, unless that's what you specifically do. Some blogs may also do roundup posts, but they're purely doing roundups of their own content and they won't include any external content. Again, you want to avoid those types. So this is just an example search of recipes, and obviously anybody that only links to their own content, I'm pretty sure $5 dinners and Food Network only link to their own, so you wouldn't use those. And some of them are actually Pinterest ones. Again, they are not relevant, but these particular ones, they were weekly roundups. They seem to be linking out to other blogs, so something like that would be good to get a link from. Now, a lot of bloggers also use social media to post roundups, so that can also be a good way of finding good targets. So you would just take those same operators and paste them into Twitter. Again, it's just a case of picking out only the relevant ones for your campaign. So for instance, just see from this example, I put recipe roundup and it's given me examples of people. And again, you can filter for depending on how recently they've posted as well. The next stage is going to be finding contact info, and you want to make the outreach process as smooth as possible. It's important that this stage is done as a prospecting part of it, as it tends to add a lot more time onto the process, so it's probably better to do that initially before trying to attempt outreach. Now, the majority of the time, the contact info, the email address, is going to be in either of these places. It's going to be in the about or contact page. It's going to be at the bottom of the article or in the author box. It may even be on their Facebook, LinkedIn or Twitter account page. But if that's not successful, then all is not lost. There are other methods you can use of finding the email address. Now, the first one is going to be simply just searching Google. So, good way of doing it is to go into Google and search for the site owner or editor's name and site name to see if it throws up any results. For example, if the site owner is called John Smith, sites, just mypersonalblog.com, you would search Google for these permutations and try to see if it gives you any results, or if there's any pages showing this. They might have shared their email address somewhere else, in a comment on somebody's site or something. You'd be surprised sometimes when it turns up, and there's a good possibility if it shows up on another site that it is a live email address. However, this next method will verify if it is live or not. This is quite a good tool, mailtester.com. If you're struggling to find any email address, if you're trying to find out where it is on the net and you're struggling to find anything, then this can sometimes yield a valid result. It will allow you to test email validity. What you could do is use this to search possible combinations. So all you would do is type in whatever combination you're trying to use, so the name and if it's on the website, and then you would just do that, click check address, and it'll tell you if it's valid or not. Obviously this isn't a real one. You'd also make sure you put the @ in there as well. As a last resort, however, could use the contact page. You generally want to avoid that because you don't know if it's even going to go to that person or if it will get to where it's meant to go. A lot of the time contact pages may be broken or because they're not actively used a lot. However, as the last resort, you can do that, or you could just reach out to them via social media. Most of the time you want to get an email address if you can.